So excited. We are live in a moment, maybe now, I don't know, shortly. Yes, we are live. Yay! Today we are going from New York to Minnesota. Very exciting to visit our partners at Live True Yoga in Plymouth, Minnesota, which I have never been to. I've actually never been to the entire state, but I have a very dear friend. What's up, Jenna Yoga, who lives there and who just is like a yoga sister to me. If anyone's ever been to like a teacher training or any of those, you know, when you meet people and you just become these kindred spirits with them. Jennifer, you are my kindred yoga sister. So thank you for connecting us. And hopefully we'll be chatting soon with Nicole and learning about her studio that she owns, what it's been like owning a studio during a pandemic. You know, every state has a very different experience. Here in New York City, we were locked down for a very long time. Not everyone had the same experience that we had. We want to know what it's been like and what it's like owning a small business. It's a challenge, you know, especially these days. Anyone that works in yoga and wellness, you know, they do this because they love it. They have a passion for it. So we're excited to meet Nicole today and hear about her journey and experience and how it's changing, and hopefully learn more about what she's doing. Our premiere issue will be out in September, and we are a community-based publication. We are a free magazine, and we distribute it at festivals, studios, partnerships. We have partnerships with museums all across the country, and we're so excited. The theme of the first issue is inspiration. So if you need a little bit of inspiration in your life, if you know someone inspirational, share that information with us. If you go to our updated website, Yoga Love Magazine. So we have also just rebranded our own selves. You know, we all need a little more love these days. So we're excited about that. And you can pitch an article there. You can nominate people. We want to know who's doing inspirational stuff in your community. We want to be inspired. We want to share inspirational stories. And I think that must be Nicole. So let's see here. See if she's joining us. Hi, Nicole. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm Yana. It's the first time we're meeting, so it's so nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. I've never done, this is crazy, but I've never done an Instagram live before. So this is new for me.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's like 50-50 with the people when we do these. They're like, it's my first time ever doing it. And I'm like, you're doing great. Or they're like, I've done this a million times. So it's fun. It's just a way for us to get to know you in just an informal way. Are you in your studio right now, or are you home?
I'm in my office space. So I'm not at the studio, but I am in my office space. Yeah.
Because I always throw that at people. I'm like, if you're in the studio, show us. And they're like, they have a whole thing set up and they're like, oh no, they have to move the camera around, and they always panic. So
yeah, no, I'm not there today, but.
So tell us, what has it been like? How long have you owned your studio? I know you have a few. So what is Live True Yoga? So tell us about your studio.
Yeah, so we do. We have a few studios. I started Live True Yoga 7 years ago. And so, yeah, it's been a kind of wild journey. And so we have 4 studios here in Minneapolis. And the studio that I operate out of is the one in Plymouth, Minnesota. So that is that one that I operate out of.
So how did you become a yoga studio owner? Did you have, everyone usually has like a previous life, you know, they were accountants or music producers. Did you have a previous profession before you were a studio owner?
Yeah, so I actually graduated with a finance degree, which, you know, of course I end up in the yoga industry, which is weird. But no, I graduated with a finance degree. I worked in corporate America for a while, ended up having some babies, a couple boys. And so I was staying home for a while and I was just not fulfilled. And I actually decided to go get my 200-hour. If you backtrack a little bit, my story, which is, you know, on our website, and which will talk about is how I got into yoga. So in my 20s, I had an eating disorder, and so I went into treatment for my anorexia. And a big part of my recovery and in this treatment program was yoga. And I hated yoga. I thought it was, because I was an over exerciser, and all I wanted to do was run and pound the pavement and do all that type of stuff. So yoga was all about slowing down. It was about paying attention. It was about loving your body. And I had none of that. So I actually ended up falling in love with it. And so then if you move into my 30s, that's when I decided, I was staying home. I was ready to do something for myself. And I decided to get my 200 hour and got trained to teach yoga. So started teaching everywhere. And then I got into opening up a studio, wasn't expecting that, and here we are 7 years later, and so much has changed and evolved, and I'm really, really grateful to be here.
And it's interesting that you say, and I think for anyone that hasn't tried yoga or is yoga curious or afraid of yoga, I like that you said it wasn't love at first sight for you. And I think that's true. That can be true of a lot of people. I mean, people, the first time I did yoga was amazing. I had a similar experience as well. It wasn't like, this is for me. It took a long time for me to really understand and appreciate the practice. But I think that's good for people to know. You might try it and say, oh no, but keep trying, So what was it that was it that you just stayed with it, that you eventually fell in love with it? Or did you get a different teacher? Because sometimes, it's the right teacher, it's the right moment in your life that really needs to be what makes you fall in love with it.
Yeah. I don't know, because, in the beginning, like I said, like I didn't like it, but then I realized, I think slowing down, eventually I realized, even though I resisted it, there was something about it that I kept coming back to. Slowing down was exactly what I needed in my life. And I wouldn't say it was like a specific teacher or anything like that, but I knew that I wanted to potentially make an impact on other people when it came to teaching, because I knew what it did for me. And I was just hopeful that I might be able to impact somebody else in the same way that I was impacted. So I fell in love with the practice first, I think, in that crazy journey in my 20s. And then I really wanted to share it with other people. So I don't know.
So how has your personal practice, I know a lot of people, their practice has changed just through this last 2 years with the pandemic going on. Have you noticed, as you've been practicing all these years, has your practice changed? Do you want a more powerful flow? So I find that I want a more restorative flow lately, which, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's changed so much. Like I've evolved so much as a teacher, as a student. I would rather, like you said, do restorative, do nothing, and just lay on my mat in Shavasana. But I definitely gravitate towards restorative yoga or a yin yoga practice. But, I'm sure other people can relate. Like as teachers, your practice it really kind of flows up and down, just like life does, And so some months, like I'm making it to my mat, I'm doing my meditations, I'm hitting those yoga practices. And then other months, it's like I completely fall off the wagon, and I'm like, God, and that month seems crazy and chaotic. And I'm like, oh, I know why, so it's just such an up and down roller coaster ride, or just based on the seasons of life that you're in. But for right now in this season, I'm definitely gearing towards slower, more meditative type practices. And if you were to ask me late 20s, early 30s, I was still into that more fitness-based power style class.
Yeah. I mean, the thought of a restorative class in my younger years was like, no way. Why would I just lay there? I had all this energy that I needed to work through. And now I'm just like, just let me lay on my mat. I'm so happy just right here. If I can do it for 10 minutes a day, I'm like, I love it. I feel so much better.
Right. And that's where I think like, that's such a good point to be made though. I think that so many people think that like, in order to they need to set aside 60 minutes to practice. And that's not true. Like you can take 10 minutes, you can take 5 minutes. And if you just get quiet, you just take those 5 minutes to go for a walk, and all you're focusing on is the present moment. Like you're doing yoga, you know, so it doesn't have to be like a physical 60-minute class, you know, it can just be getting quiet in whatever way that feels good for you.
I think the pandemic really, I understood that intellectually for a long time, but the pandemic really
Yeah.
forced it. That's when I really got it, you know, because I didn't have, I was dealing with so much as we all were in terms of the world and what was going on, that I didn't have the mental capacity to do a 60-minute class. And so I just told myself, just do what you can. And I really had to be gentle with myself, which wasn't easy for me. That was also a huge learning step for me. How to be
Yeah.
kinder to myself, how to accept really where I was, because I'd had so much energy for so many years that all of a sudden when it was cut short,
Yeah.
working with that new life and this new body and everything and new world we were in, it took some adjusting to. But you know, as long as I did those 10 minutes, 5 minutes, just sitting and breathing, it really helps.
It did help. And, you know, during the pandemic, I wish, like, I think back to that time, and I was just, as a studio owner, I was just fighting to keep the doors open. And you know, I look back at that time and I do wish I would have taken more time for myself to kind of pause and gather myself and gather my thoughts. But I was really hustling during that time to continue to keep us alive. And honestly, the live stream is what did it, you know, and so many of our loyal clients, they stayed with us and they continue to practice, and we still live stream now. So it's been, you know, I'm very grateful.
Do you feel like you're back to how it was before the pandemic in terms of attendance or people showing up at classes? Not yet.
Not yet. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, because, you know, yeah, you know, it was long, you know, 2 years was a long time. And so I think the issue for myself is like, well, all of a sudden when we were able to open the doors, I just think I expected like everybody would just come back rushing in. But what I've realized is that, you know, it was 2 years, you know, of really like a lot of ups and downs and being shut down and then reopen. And it's going to take time. It's going to take maybe another year to get us back to where we want to be. Because it didn't happen overnight to where we ended up, you know, at the end of the pandemic. It was like a slow sort of progression in a different way than what we would have wanted to see. But it's a slow enough progression in the way that, you know, coming back is where we're heading, but it's not an overnight deal. It's just taking time.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
do feel
okay, you know?
yeah. I feel like people are, at least in New York, they're very cautious. You know, it's like they're starting to tiptoe back into everything. So it makes sense now in terms of studio attendance. They're slowly going back, but they are going back. But it is
Yeah.
sort of a cautious approach. But it's great that you still offer the live stream. And I think
Yeah.
the amazing thing too is now this is what, you know, this is horrible what we've been through, but I love that I could now practice at your studio here in New York City because these things are offered now. And that's, you know, we can all agree that that's kind of an amazing thing that we've all been able to take advantage of now. So it's
Yeah.
really great.
And people, you know, people are used to practicing at home, and they like that option. So it's kind of, in my opinion, we already invested in the equipment. We have it, you know, and why not keep it if people are still going to use it? So yeah, we're going to continue to do it until we feel like maybe we need to do something different.
Yeah. When you were going through the more challenging moments of being closed and not knowing, you know, what was going on, how did you get through those moments? Was there a mantra? Was there just a thought? Was there a person? What was the thing that helped you? I always ask this question selfishly because I want to know so I can use these tools also. But what were the things that you did?
Oh God, you know, in the beginning it was like I was like gritting and bearing it, like, you know, like I don't, you know, like almost like forcing myself to like everything's gonna be okay, you know. And then I just kind of had to I had to let go. And it was a mantra truly that has helped me and still continues to help me. And I got it from Gabby Bernstein. She's a spiritual teacher, and she's somebody that I really appreciate her work. But it was everything is happening around me. I am truly supported and taken care of. And so for me, it was like, you know, everything is happening around me. I can't control what's happening around me. There's all these things that are happening, but trusting and knowing that I am truly supported and taken care of. Like, it just, that was my thing. And it's still what I go back to.
I love it. And that's really all that we need, you know, is to just feel that we're supported, even if it's not even true at that moment, like who knows, but even just like repeating that
Yeah.
and getting that, and just for me, it's always, I always feel like I'm running out of time. Like time is something I feel like I always need more of. So I always have to tell myself there's more than enough time. You know, there's plenty of time to do these things. Because once I get into this mindset of there's not enough time, I can't do it, I start repeating that mantra. It no good comes from that. So
no, you go down a rabbit hole, you know, and you go down a really scary rabbit hole. And if I would have, you know, and don't get me wrong, I definitely had my moments where I was going down a rabbit hole, you know, and everything was going wrong, you know, but then I always had to take a step back and pause. And, you know, as yoga teachers, we have all the tools, you know, it's like, we know what we should be doing, but when you're in it, like that's a whole nother story, you know? And it's always just taking a step back and pausing and doing what I need to do, that I know, doing what I need to do in that moment to help me kind of like get out of the place that I'm in, just kind of raise my vibration a little bit, you know, and just kind of work from that.
Yeah. And one of the things that I hear from a lot of the studio owners, it's, you know, the community and the teachers and the students that did keep coming back. Like that was one of the things. Like I heard some stories and they didn't give up either. You know, they were there, they supported the studios, and they still are. So that's, I'm sure you have a really strong community as well. 7 years is a long time to be running a business.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You know, we have the absolute best teachers. Like there's no way I could have done this alone. You know, I mean, they carried, the teachers, the team, the energy, everybody carried each other, the clients, the students, like all of it, you know. I mean, we're very blessed to still be here, and it's because of our community.
What do you have coming up that you're excited about? Do you have any retreats? Do you have any workshops?
Okay, good. Okay, that's good. I like that you asked about retreats. Yes, we just put out, I'm hosting a retreat at it's in Zion National Park in Utah in October.
Oh, I've never been there. It's supposed to be so good.
Yeah.
Have you been?
I have not, no, but I have an amazing woman that helps me find some really cool places to host retreats. And so it's at the Red Rock Oasis in Utah in October. So it's October 16th through the 19th. And we have this, like, it's on this really huge, it's not really a resort, but it's a huge house. The kitchen is like 3,000 square feet. We have our own private lake, kayaks, paddle boards, all that good stuff, daily yoga workshops, and we have a private chef coming on site to do all of our meals. So that I am pretty pumped about.
Yeah. What made you choose Zion? Were there any, what was like the runner up? Were there like a couple places you were looking at? Were you like, no, it has to be here, this is where we're going this year?
Yeah, no, I was looking at Maine.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually I went to Maine and Bar Harbor, Maine, and I was thinking there, and then when I went there, I don't know, I just felt like it wasn't the right place for our next retreat. And so then I don't know why, but we were led, maybe guided to this Utah place, and I've always wanted to see Zion National Park. So yeah, that's how we got there.
I love it. And is that information on your website yet, or is it coming up soon?
Yeah, it's on, we just posted on it on our social media page, but it is in my bio, like the link as far as more information goes. Like you just go to my bio, Nick Byers, and then it's in my bio with all that information. So yeah, it's up. We just started advertising it late last week.
Wow. And that is going to sell out, I'm sure. People are ready. People are ready to go travel. They're ready to, you know, start seeing things again and have fun with people. So I so excited.
So, you know, every time I host a retreat, because I've hosted quite a few, I always get nervous before it goes out. You know, it's just like, oh, I hope people want to come, you know, and then it always sells out, you know, but I still,
Always.
you know, before we put it out, I was really excited. And then I was like, oh, I hope people come and I hope people want to. And so, I mean, we have some people that have already signed up, which is great. So I think it's going to be it will be an awesome trip.
And that's a beautiful time of year too, October. My birthday's in October, that's why I say that, but
Oh yeah, of course it's a beautiful time of year.
it's a wonderful time of year. October's
Yeah.
It's the best month ever. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you for supporting our publication. So when our issue comes out in September, it will be available at your studio in Plymouth, Live True Yoga. And we only exist because of studios like you supporting our publication. So thank you so much for your support and congratulations on 7 years. That is an amazing, you have survived a pandemic. I feel like everyone deserves like a medal or some kind of a trophy for like making it this far.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate you. And I have to go to Minnesota one of these days. You know, I've known Jen for a million years and I gotta get out there to see you guys.
Yeah,
so.
she only has wonderful things to say about you. So I would love to meet you and I'm happy to support everything that you're doing. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you so much. I'm going to keep this on our Instagram page and people can watch it later and it'll be on your profile page on our website as well. So thank you so much, Nicole. Take care. Have a good day.
Have a great day. Bye, everybody.
Bye.